plays the 5-number summary. So yesterday and part of today we discussed how to find the 5-number summary. And as you know, the 5-number summary includes the minimum, the maximum, the first quartile, the median, and the third quartile, which we also call the upper quartile. You can place all of those in a graph, and that graph is called either, depending on the textbook, it's either called a box plot or a box and whiskers plot. And it should be pretty obvious why it's called that. It's called a box plot because it has a box. And more specifically, it's called a box and whiskers plot because it has those whiskers coming off the sides. So if you know the 5-number summary, you know how to create the box and whiskers plot. So the way you draw the 5-number or the box plot is you find the 5-number summary, drawing the number line has to go from the minimum to the maximum, and it has to have an even scale. We practiced doing the even scale when we did the dot plots, and we practiced it when we did the bar graphs. Okay? And then on top of the lower quartile, that's Q1, the median, and Q3, you just draw vertical lines, connect with horizontal lines, and then you draw little whiskers out to your min and max. And that's how you create it. So we're going to draw a box plot for this data, and you guys have the data right there.
Like the example from it?
Yep. So you see these numbers here. Obviously, to do a 5-number summary, you would first put the data in order. Okay? So what we're going to do is identify our minimum is 2, our maximum is 10. Who can tell me the median? Please raise your hand. Ava? 4. 4, good. And please, when you find your median, put a box around it if it is a number, or a circle, it's up to you, but it's very important that you do that. So we can, for our median right there, DJ?
3
is the,
Q1.
Yep, 3 is Q1. That splits the first half of the data in half. And, go ahead. 8 is Q3. Good. So then we have our 5-number summary, and we know the low and the high are our mins and maxes. So this we got practice on quite a bit yesterday and today. Any questions so far? Now we're going to create our box and whiskers plot. So you're going to draw a number line, and the important part in drawing the number line is that you include all of the data points that are there. Notice, the 5-number summary doesn't include the numbers 5, 6, 7, or 9, but a number line includes those numbers. So your number line has to have 2 through 10 in it because it must include the minimum and the maximum, and it has to go up by a consistent amount. Because these numbers aren't very far apart, I can just go up by 1s. Right? So I have my number line. Now, above my minimum, I'm going to put a dot. So that's the first step. Above Q1, I'm going to put a line. Above the median, I put another line, parallel, same height. And then above Q3, I put a third line. Parallel, same height again. Those 3 lines, when you connect them across the top, make up the box of your box and whiskers plot. Denise?
Since 8 and 9 are only 2 spaces apart, 10 cannot be considered an outlier, correct?
Correct.
Because it's not that big of a...
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, the data points are fairly close together, so we don't have any outliers. DJ?
They didn't want the difference in the graph.
Yes.
Wait, so then we draw a line right to the 2?
Well, we need to consider our maximum of 10. So above 10, just like the minimum, the maximum gets a point above the 10. And then you connect the center of the dot box to that point. I have to make it pretty quick. So the center of the side of the box should connect with the two dots that float above the minimum and maximum. And then the left side of the box is Q1. The median is a line that occurs somewhere in the box. And then Q3 is the right side of the box. The box has to float above the number line. It should not be on top of the number line. It does not rest there, it floats above. All right? And it's always minimum, Q1, median, Q3, and maximum. And the number line has to be independent, okay? You can't skip numbers just because they're not in the 5-number summary. Okay, questions on that? Another thing, DJ?
Are we gonna have to do this with,
You don't pack up until I dismiss you. Just keep going. Go ahead.
like when we had to do 7, we have to do that?
Sure, the numbers might be a little weird. Okay? If the numbers are weird, you just put them on the number line. Like, let's say you have 9.5, you'll just put it halfway in between. Okay, that's all right. You know, if you had whole numbers of millions, you'll just estimate in between. Okay? The last thing I need to tell you guys is interquartile range. You're going to have to add this to your notes.
Can we write on this piece of paper?
Yeah. So the interquartile range is subtracting Q3 and Q1. So it's different from the range. The range is subtracting the maximum from the minimum. The interquartile range is subtracting the two quartiles from each other. So in this case, the interquartile range is 8 minus 3, which is 5. Now this, because interquartile range is so many letters, is just I, Q, R. So the interquartile range is 5.
When will that be needed?
You'll just say what's the interquartile range, and you would have to get it. And you can see that it's the interquartile range. The interquartile range is how wide the box is on the graph.
Oh.
So the box goes from 3 to 8, so it's 5 units wide. Other questions? So what I'm going to do is give you back your assignment from last night, and once you get that back, you get tonight's homework, you can go.